Clouds is the latest original movie to hit the Disney Plus streaming service. It tells a true story of Zach Sobiech, a young artist who discovers that his cancer has become terminal and decides to spend his final days reaching for his dreams of becoming a recording artist and becomes a viral sensation as a result. Thanks to my friends over at Disney, I was given the chance to have a brief chat with the film's director, Justin Baldoni, ahead of the movie's launch on the Disney Plus streaming service on October 16. Hi, Justin. Hi, how are you? My name's Dave. I'm calling from Dave Lee Down Under YouTube channel here in Australia. I watched the film yesterday evening and loved it. It's really, really great. Inspirational, touching film.
Thank you so much. Well, you seem to have pretty good taste in movies. Look what's behind you.
Yes, of course. Love the classics.
Come on.
Yeah. I was unaware of Zach and his story before I saw the film, and I've been completely just touched by his story, and I think it's quite remarkable that he can still reach out to people so long after his passing, and I imagine that's a really big part of the experience of the film and making the film and getting it out there on such a big platform as Disney Plus to audiences who there's going to be a lot of people like myself who haven't come across Zach's story before.
Yeah, I mean, it's Disney, right? Dreams come true. Yeah. And Disney informed so much of who I am, I think, as a filmmaker. And look, my mission as an artist is to tell stories that touch hearts, that remind people that life is beautiful and worth living. And look, this has all been guided in a way by Zach himself. I say Zach was my director. He's been a part of this from the very beginning. This all started 7 years ago. I was telling his story as part of a documentary series called My Last Days with my friends at Soul Pancake. And his was the 7th story, the final story of that first season on YouTube. And after we met and bonded, we all fell in love. We became family. I made him a promise before we died that I would do whatever I could to help further his mission and make sure that people all over the world knew his name and his story and heard his music, but more importantly, that I'd help him raise money for his fund. Before he died, he set up the Zach Sobiech Osteosarcoma Fund. So at the end of the day, when his mom wrote this book and I asked if we could turn it into a movie, the mission was not just to make a movie that touched people. It was to make a movie that touched people and inspired people to maybe donate to his fund. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, we could end this. Yeah, I would say in movie making, we're not curing cancer, but that I'm like, well, why not?
Yeah,
why can't we?
Right. Well, we lost my grandmother to cancer about 10 years ago now, and it was a very sudden, very swift kind of thing. But we were able to spend her last days, her last hours with her, and I felt like the film really captured that kind of energy of those last few, I suppose, days and hours, in a way that I feel like, there's been quite a few movies that have touched on these themes in the past, but I felt like this was this kind of explored that energy and that kind of that feeling more authentically than anything else I've seen in the past. How important was that for you to kind of bring that to your vision?
That is everything I hoped for, because I've been very blessed to experience firsthand the miracle and the richness of what it's like when somebody passes.
Yeah.
And, I've also been very blessed to experience the richness and what it's like when someone is born. I had kids, and there's a striking similarity between the two.
Mm-hmm.
What people don't often understand and what movies tend to fail to capture is the joy that comes also in death, and the magic that happens, and how people are come together, and how you can have two things at once. You can have tremendous grieving and suffering, and yet extreme joy and hilarious moments that unless you were there, you wouldn't understand. It's never just this one thing. And we see these films where it's just like, this person's dying and it's just miserable and dark and depressing. But this was really a movie about hope. It's not a movie about death. It's not a movie about cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to fit into any of these critics' ideas of what like a tropey, YA cancer movie is. No, this is a movie about life and living, and taking the opportunity to seize the day, if you will, to live while you're dying, or like you're dying, And so, yeah, man, I'm grateful you said that, because that was the goal, is to make it as sincere and authentic as possible.
I was actually going to say, like, there are parts in the film where it's very harrowing, it's very raw, it's very touching, but there's a lot of parts that are just a lot of fun. So how was it to be able to kind of blend the two kind of things and just kind of those two very, very stark differences in the film?
Well, that's life, man. I mean, look at our lives. Our lives are extreme highs and extreme lows, and the journey between the two, the dots that connect the two, is the journey of life. And so, at any given moment, we're always feeling two things that are that are contradicting. Right now, I'm exhausted, but I'm also happy. Right?
Yeah.
I'm excited. I have energy, but I'm also exhausted. I also have anxiety because there's a freaking pandemic happening, but yet I'm hopeful. Right?
Yeah.
We tend to focus on like these one parts of our lives, and we see that so often in movies, but life is a convergence of joy and sadness and suffering and hope and all of these things. So it was just following life. It was the humanity in all of us, and making sure that we captured it in a way that was true and authentic to the true story, to Zach, to who he was. And he was a kid that believed in living. He also was messy and had dark moments, and the family, wasn't perfect, but that's also the point, is because they are all of us. Zach is all of us. Laura is all of us. Like, these family members, we all have somebody in our life that is them, or we will be them at some point. So it's important to show the imperfections, because that's also what makes us and it perfect.
Yeah. Well, that certainly all came across in the film. Again, I really loved it. I know there's going to be a lot of people out there who do love it as well. Thank you so much for the film, and thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Talking about it, bro.
Thank you.
Knowing that your time is limited is scary, but you get to decide what matters most now.
We could go up, up, up.
You want to make an album?
I've waited 8 years for you to ask me that. Up in the clouds because
Have you looked on YouTube?
We have 51,000 views.
Hear my dear.
It all feels like some crazy dream.
It won't be long now.
Clouds, rated PG-13, streaming October 16th on Disney+.
Hey everyone, if you haven't yet, smash that big old subscribe button up on your screen to keep up to date with all my content, and hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to check me out on social media, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month for exclusive videos, early access content, and to get your name up on the screen. Thanks again for watching.